नमस्कार। आप सभी अपने अपने घरों पर सकुशल रूप से, स्वस्थ रूप से, सानंद रूप से रह रहे होंगे और आपके परिवारजन भी स्वस्थ रूप से अपने घरों पर होंगे, ऐसी मेरी प्रभु से कामना है। तथा आप सभी लोग सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग का भी बहुत अच्छी तरह से पालन कर रहे होंगे, ऐसा मेरा मानना है। तो जैसा कि कल हमने अपना नया लेसन स्टार्ट किया था, दैट इज़ ऑर्गेनिज्म एंड पॉपुलेशन, इन विच वी टॉक अबाउट द डिफरेंट थिंग्स, स्पेशली वी टॉक अबाउट द इकोलॉजी, different levels of ecology, organism, population, species, biotic community, ecosystem, biomes, and biosphere, and also the different environmental conditions in different places. So in that we have talked about the ecosystems, and we have to talk about the components of ecosystem in new topic. As you know, the ecosystem is the sum total of the biotic and abiotic components of a particular area in a physiological conditions where they can be interacted to each other. So there is a different components can always help to maintain this ecosystem, that is biotic and abiotic components. Biotic components are the generally you can say non-living components, and abiotic components are abiotic components are non-living components, and biotic components are the living components. If we talk about the abiotic components, especially you can say light, temperature, water, soil. These are different abiotic factors which components which can affect any ecosystem. But on the other hand, if we talk about the living components or the biotic components, they are the pathogens, parasites, predators, and the competitors, right? So we have to start about the abiotic factors. In abiotic factors, first of all we have to take the light. As you know, the light is very important for the ecological factors because it can affects the physiological processes of plants. We can say photosynthesis, transpiration, movement, flowering, and seed germination. Or you can directly say that it is very important because all the autotrophs make their food with the help of this light by the process of photosynthesis, and O2 is evolved during this process. As we know, why light is necessary? Because during this light, in presence of light, the plant can do the photosynthesis, and that photosynthesis can capable to provide evolved for the development of the oxygen, which is necessary for all living organisms for their respirations to get the energy. As well as we again say that light is responsible for the some other things. We can say the light is responsible for daily rhythmic in animals, means this light is also help for the maintenance of our rhythmic conditions. If we talk about the photoperiodism, means the amount of light for the plants. On the basis of this photoperiodism, plant can be classified in different categories. You have learned in the 11th class: short day plant, long day plant, right? So in that conditions they can be, and this light can also capable for the control of the migration of the birds, means on the basis of when the sun rises, the birds start to move to search their food, and before the sunset they can came back to their homes or to their shelters. On the basis of this light, hibernation can be done by different animals and breeding in animals, right? And we can also say that this light can also help in the plant control flowering and vegetative growth, means without growth plant cannot provide any food. As well as we also can say this plant can also control the flowering, means when the flowers light can be occurs or light can be found in morning, the flowers start to glow up, and there are some flowers which can be grows during the night also. So we can say light is very important in point view of the abiotic factors. As well as we can say that the small herbs like the herbs can perform photosynthesis under very low light conditions, right? Because there is a overshed by the tall trees. Only the very small plants like herbs and can capable to do the photosynthesis. As well as we can say the plant depend on the sunlight to meet their photoperiodic requirements for flowering. Even we can say generally plant, as I have told you, plant needed the light for their flowering. As well as we can say generally animals can also show their rhythmic conditions, right? As I have told you that for the diurnal and seasonal variation, mean with the help of this light, the variation in the light intensity, these all variation can be occurs, right? And that duration is called the photoperiod. So we can say these all are causes for the foraging, reproducing and migratory activities I have told you, right? So these are different things which are very necessary, which can be depends on the light. Then another biotic factor is the temperature, right? Temperature generally, as you know, it is the most ecological relevant environmental factor. Why so? Because we can say this temperature is not only not effects on the physiological factors but also for the geographical distributions of plant and animals. Means it can not only help for the physiological process, it can also affect for the distribution of the plants and animals in different regions, right? On the basis of temperature, we can say the living organism can be so different mechanisms with the help of this temperature. So if we can say about the metabolic activities, means on the basis of this one. So what is metabolic activity? Means different metabolic activities of a plant are controlled by the different enzymes. Means जो बॉडी के अंदर जो इंडिविजुअल के ऑर्गन के अंदर जो डिफरेंट प्रोसेसेस होती हैं, ठीक, चाहे वो एनाबॉलिक हो चाहे वो कैटाबॉलिक हो. Evenly, whenever any substance can be synthesized, in that condition we can say that is the anabolic, and when it can be just break down, that is called the catabolic. Means if we can say the photosynthesis process is the anabolic and the respiration process is the catabolic, when they are both are take place in the plant, right? So we can say whenever they are constantly together, that is called the metabolic process of the plant. So we can say these metabolic process can also affected by the temperature. So this is happening. As well as we can say in the flowering plants, if we talk about the flowering plants, what will happen in that conditions? In that condition, flowering in plants means temperature is also important for the affect the flowering of the plant. If we can talk that the below the temperature of -6 degrees Celsius, 0 to 6 degrees Celsius, you can say if the temperature is between the 0 to 6 degrees Celsius, the vernalization is responsible for enhancing flowering in plants. Means there is a effects can be take place that there is a no flowering will take place but with the help of vernalizations. As well as this temperature is also responsible for the growth of the different organisms or the plants. You can see the growth and development of the adversary affected by the very low and high temperature. Means if the temperature is high, then it also affect on the growth. Evenly, if the temperature is low, then it also affect the growth one. So we can say these are different things which can be effects for the development of the plant. As well as we can also say that on the basis of this temperature, right, we can say the as we have seen that seasonally the average temperature on the land is varies. Means हर सीजन के समय अलग अलग टाइम पर in different conditions the average temperature can be ever differ. As well as we can say if we can move from the equator to the poles, the temperature varies. Means the temperature decreases at the equator, there is a high temperature, at the poles there is a very low temperature. So we can say this is the condition. As well as we again say in the plain areas the temperature is high, right, and in the temperature in the mountain there is a temperature is low. This all can be happen on the basis of temperature. We can say the range of temperature varies from the different levels in polar areas to more than 50 degrees Celsius at high altitude in the tropical region in summer. Right? As well as you can say this temperature can also affect, as I have already told you, on the functions of the enzymes through their different conditions. As well as if we talk about the organisms, the organisms can be also effects on the basis of this temperature. Means we can say the organism which can be capable to tolerating the high range of temperature, means high range of temperature, they are known as eurothermal, and the organism which can टॉलरेट नैरो रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर, दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टेनोथर्मल. मीन्स अगर हम बात करें कि कोई ऑर्गेनिजम्स बहुत ज़्यादा हाई टेम्परेचर को टॉलरेट कर लेता है तो उसको कहा जाता है यूरोथर्मल एंड जो ऑर्गेनिजम्स बहुत लो टेम्परेचर को भी टॉलरेट कर जाता है उसको कहते हैं स्टेनोथर्मल. मीन्स दे कैन बी क्लासिफाइड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दिस कैरेक्टर. It means that if any organism can survive in the polar regions, in Arctic regions, it means that they all are in the category of the eurothermal, and those can survive. Sorry, I think I have repeat. It is just inverted, right? Basically, if the organism can be survived in desert, high temperature, that is the eurothermal. Right, and those which cannot survive, which can survive in the Arctic and polar region, they are known as stenothermal. So this way we can classify these organisms in different categories. Then we have to talk about the next thing, that is the water. Means water is also a very important abiotic factor. Means we can say that you know that water is important component of protoplasm. Means generally all the organisms which have the protoplasm, it is always acts like a solvent and reactant as a metabolic and byproducts of an essential, right? So we can it can also help for the material for the maintaining the turbidity. It is a resource as well as a condition that habitat in itself. Generally water can becomes like a sources for different organisms, right? And you can also think that the productivity and the distribution of plant is also heavily dependent on the water. And if we talk about if the water it acts like a habitat, it means that you can say the plants of aquatic habitat are called the hydrophytes. Means those organisms, those plants which can survive in the aquatic condition, they are known as the hydrophytes. You know, the aquatic organism has quality to chemical composition of pH, as well as if we can say the quality of water is important. Means the plant can be also depends on the water. That's why they can be classified in different categories: hydrophytes, mesophytes, and xerophytes also. Means they can be classified on the basis of this one. So we can say that the plant is also very important for all such type of organisms. Even if we can say on the basis of this one, they can be again classified. Or we can say that the water can also is the factor as life in unstable without water. Means कभी आपने सोचा कि विदाउट वाटर लाइफ पॉसिबल हो पाएगी? नहीं होगी, क्योंकि बिकॉज इट इज अ रॉ मटेरियल फॉर द फोटोसिंथेसिस. फोटोसिंथेसिस बिना वाटर को हो ही नहीं सकती. So we can say that is very important. As well as we can say the water can also affect the productivity of our environment, and we can say that it can be provide the habitat. On the basis of habitat, the plant can be classified, as told you, in different categories. That is the hydrophytes, mesophytes, and the xerophytes. Hydrophytes basically in which the plant can survive in the aquatic conditions in the water, that is called hydrophytes. And mesophytes when the plant needed the moist conditions, right, that is conditions or appropriate or moderate amount of water, that is called mesophytes. And xerophytes basically when the plant can in the dry conditions, dry habitat, they are known as xerophytes. If we can talk about the on the basis of tolerating the range of these things, the range of all these things we can classify, right? There's different categories as we have talked about on the basis of the temperature, eurothermal and the stenothermal. In the same way, there's some different organisms which had a wide range of the salinities. What is salinity? The amount of salt is dissolved in the water. The amount of salt is present in the water, that is called the salinity. Right? So we can say on the basis of the salinity, the organism can again classify it into two categories. Number one is urehyalin, right? Urehyalin and the stenohyalin. So what are urehyalin? Urehyalin are the animals which can tolerate for a wide range of the salinities. They are known as urehyalin, means salmon fish. As we know, salmon क्या होती है? फिश होती है जो समुद्र में रहती है, right? We know it can be survive over there, but some other organisms which cannot be right, but other animals can restricted to narrow range of the salinities, means those organisms which is not capable of high range, right, for the surviving that conditions, they are known as stenohyalin, and especially shark, right? So this way we can say some freshwater animals cannot live for long in seawater, and some seawater cannot be live in the urehyalin condition or stenohyalin. Means we can say all the urehyalin animal cannot survive in the that salinities water, a salty water, and the salty water cannot survive in the fresh water or the in that conditions, because it can be shows some specific type of osmotic problems them, so they cannot be able to survive. Suppose you can put a marine fish into a fresh water, it will die because its osmosis process differ or reverse in condition to the freshwater fishes. And if you will put the freshwater fish into the salty water, it can also die because of the osmotic conditions. So we can say it is the range which can be also very wide ranges for such a conditions. So these are the different ranges, these are different abiotic components. Let's move on to another abiotic factors, that is the soil, right? Means soil is also plays a very important role as the ecological factors, abiotic ecological factors, because this soil can capable to provide the water, mineral or nutrients and for the autotrophs to the plants for the photosynthesis, right? It means that this soil contains all such type of things in it, that's why these can capable to development in that conditions, right? So we can say it is very necessary. And if we talk about the some specific things, right, if we talk about the properties of the soil, properties and nature of the soil, the difference means it can always differ from different places. It depends on the climate and weathering process, means how the soil forms. So if the soil can be transported sedimentary or in the development occurs, means how that this soil can be developed in different conditions. So on the basis of that it can be differ. We can also say that the soil compositions, grain size, aggregation determining percolation rate, water holding capacity, all those things, as well as we can say its pH, the mineral composition, topography, determine the vegetations of an area, distance that dictates the type of animals support. Means in the way this soil can be always help for the supporting of the soil, as well as we can say in different way that the mineral particles, means generally mineral particles are the main components of the soil complex and formed by the weathering, means the minerals can be formed inside the soil, they can be developed with the help of weathering. Weathering is the process through which the rock can break down and it can be formed the soil. Means we can say on the basis of the size of particles of the soil, it can be different types. We can say if we talk about the clay soil, if particle size is less than 0.002 millimeter, silt size particle is 0.0022 to 0.02 millimeter. And if we talk about fine sand, that is the sand if the particle size is 0.02 to 0.2 millimeter, and coarse sand that is 0.2 to 2 millimeters, and gravels or stones that is more than 2 millimeter. Means on the basis of these soils can be classified on the basis of their conditions. As well as we can again say that the डिफरेंट लेयर्स ऑफ दिस सॉइल. सपोज अगर कभी आपने किसी नहर की खुदाई या किसी फाउंडेशन की खुदाई देखी होगी तो यू विल सी द डिफरेंट लेयर्स ओवर देयर, राइट. आप ऊपर की लेयर अलग कलर की, बीच की अलग कलर की, थर्ड लेयर, यू मीन देयर डिफरेंट कलर्स you can see of the vertical sections. So you can say from, if we can talk about in a vertical section of the soil from surface downwards to the parent rock, means अगर हम नीचे से पेरेंट जो नीचे डाउनवर्ड से डाउनवर्ड अपवर्ड्स की ओर बढ़ते हैं तो वहाँ पेरेंट्स रॉक भी मिल जाएगी, बेड रॉक भी मिल जाएगी, टॉप सॉइल भी मिल जाएगी. तो दिस इज स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द सॉइल, दिस लेयर्स ऑफ द सॉइल इज कॉल्ड दी व्हाट, दैट इज कॉल्ड सॉइल प्रोफाइल. इसको ही कहा जाता है क्या, सॉइल प्रोफाइल कहा जाता है, राइट. एंड दिस horizon of soil can be classified in different groups, that they soil are O0, you can say 0 A B C, means they are different conditions in which this can be classified. And we can talk if the unbroken and unweathered parent bedrock lies below the sea horizon, means the structure of these layers can be classified, means these layers can be classified into different categories, that is known as the structure of that soil. So we can see it is the soil profile. So this way today we have talked about the abiotic components. So tomorrow we will talk about the response to the abiotic factors, means how the different organisms can show the different responses to the abiotic factors, in which you have studied about the conformers, regulators and partial regulators and suspended, all those things. So before that we have to prepare your notes all from this chapter. It is a theoretical chapter, you must read it. It is very important for your examination point of view. So students, please read it and try to make your notes also.